my first feature film, Speed Dating, we had a whole lot of Hollywood talent, whatever. I'm sitting with the composer, and he's like, "So where do you want the music?" And I'm telling him, I said, "Put the music here, and then on this part, we're gonna do this, and da 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 da." And he said, "Hey, what school did you go to?" I said, "I didn't go to school for this." He said, "Well, how do you know? How do you know?" And I remember before I started directing, I was wondering, how do I have all of these talents? I was a rapper. I was a poet. I would write poetry. I coached basketball. Um, the things that I knew how to do well, but none of them was a career really. It never ended up being a career. So when he asked me that, I'm like, directing is like a culmination of all these things. I could draw when I was 7 years old. I used to draw comic books and stuff like that. That's storyboarding. You know what I mean? When we used to do music as a rapper, I was not just a rapper, I was a producer of music. So there's that. And then I edited my own music videos. So I learned how to edit. You know what I'm saying? So I learned all these things culminated when I became a director, and it became so easy for me. How do I know how to coach actors? I was coaching basketball. I coached 17-year-olds when I was 18. You know what I mean? Like, I was coaching at a young age, and then I started coaching people in acting. It's like, why is this so easy for me? You know what I mean? So this, your whole life is building up to this moment of this is what you were meant to do.
We do talk about that a lot on this show, you know, and getting people to understand, because a lot of people make it, you know, mysterious, like it's a code you have to figure out. And I'm like, man, it's nothing. Just ask yourself what you're doing right now. If you're working right now and you feel like, man, I'm just waiting to get off work so I can go do this, whatever that is, maybe you should look into seeing how to monetize it.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people out there who just pay attention to the hierarchy of, you know, what do they call it? Survival or whatever, what you need, food, shelter, and clothes. Past that, it should be luxury, maybe car and, you know, and gas and stuff like that. But if you're covering all the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I think it's called, you're covering that, you know, you ask yourself, what's the question they always ask? What you do for a living, you ask yourself first the question, if you had $1 million, you didn't have to worry about money, what would you do? You should be doing that.
You should be doing that.
You ever seen that movie where is it the Office Space? Where the guy's hearing them through the wall?
Absolutely.
He's like, hey man, what'd you do with the $1 million? He's like, that's the question you're supposed to ask. And the guy in the other apartment talks through the wall and says, well, first they're saying, well, if I had $1 million, I'd do nothing, man. I'd do nothing. And the guy over there goes, man, you don't need $1 million to do nothing. And it's just like, you're right. So if you're thinking you want to do nothing to stay home, play video games, you know, there's a way to do that and still
make
get
money.
paid. I'm telling you.
I know there's a lot of kids making money playing video games. I don't even know how they do it, but that's them.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm on Twitch, I'm on this, I got this cord, and I'm actually getting paid. I got a subscription. And they're like, how old are you? Oh, I'm 14. And like, man, there's no excuse.
Right.
It's like, it doesn't matter what age it takes you. When look, KFC, 63 years old, he made KFC. Yeah. I mean, if it turns out that God wanted you to open the mindset and know at age 50, then that's for you at age 50.
Henry Ford didn't even make his first car until he's 50.
See, I didn't know that.
You know, it can happen at any time for any person. And what he's talking about too is like he tried so many different things. I'm very similar that way, by the way, and become a jack of all trades and master of nothing. But maybe you became a master of something, you know, and that's what comes with age. But it's all the things you try out, and you may get bored with it, but at least you know. So try it. Try the things. You're kind of weeding it out, and along the way, you get strength and value by learning those things. It might even help you out. I mean, all those things you did probably help you out in the movies now.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny. I used to read a lot. I don't read as much as I used to, but I used to read. And a book that I read was by Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, which one?
And Making the Deal or something. Is that what it is?
And that
The Art of the Deal.
They said that's a good book.
And in that book, he said that the reason why a lot of people don't make it is they quit right before they were about to
boy.
And I was like, wow. So I knew when I set off on this path, first of all, my DNA told me that anytime I want to do something, all I got to do is put the work in and I'll do it. And I said, well, I'm going to put the work in to make it a movie. And quitting is not an option.
Not an option.
It's not an option.
Don't even make it an option. That's why he says it. No option.
There's no option. You don't quit. If this is what you want to do, it just is what it is. It becomes who you are. So you have to commit wholeheartedly to it. You know what I mean? And I hate for the people who feel like, but it's something in you that's got to know. You know what I'm saying? You got to know. You can't have no talent and then say, I want to be an artist. And then you look at your art and go, well, not art, because art can be anything.
There are
Yeah.
lucky people out there.
I'm more talking about comic books. You drawing stick figures talking about I'm going to be a comic book artist.
There's so many artists like
you got to
3D
learn,
and,
at least know how to draw before you become a comic book artist. But you got to have some type of talent.
Yeah.
You can't not know how to sing and then say I'm gonna be a singer. You have to know how to carry some note.
Yes,
but
true.
you got to have something about you that says
be honest with yourself.
Yeah, you have to be honest with yourself. But once and I always say the people tell you if this is what you were meant to do.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So if you're just singing, people are going, "Oh my God, your voice is so amazing," and that's what you want to do. Now you say, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do," because my college professors told me that I was a really good writer. I didn't tell myself that. I felt it because I was, you do essays in school and whatever, and I always get A's in essays or whatever. But my college professors told me they wanted me to be a novelist. But I said, no, I want to be a screenwriter. I want to do movies. And they said, well, that's an 8 million to 1 chance you'll ever make a movie. That's what they told me. It's an 8 million to 1 chance.
Damn.
No, they were specific. There's an 8 million to 1 chance that you'll ever make a movie that goes to theaters. And I said, cool. You said 1.
That's me.
That's it.
Well, that's me. 3 years later, movie in theaters. 3 years later.
Dude.
A lot of work, a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
But 3 years later,
I have some.
Might have been 5. Might have been 5 years later. But I was in theaters in Buffalo. So you're talking about 18 theaters. The movie Speed Dating went out to 18 theaters around the country, and one of them happened to be the city that I was from. And I was like, I hope one of my teachers goes to that.
I wish that you can connect them right now and be like, hey man, you know what? You're watching this.
8 million to 1, baby.
Hey, I was that
8
one.
million to 1. I was the one.
I've had similar stories in my life, so I know he's telling the truth, guys. It's stick with it. If you think you're the one, you are the one.
Exactly.
These are like we were talking about before he got here about the call, right?
Yeah, the call.
It's funny because I got here and I told him Nidia was there and she was telling me a story that there was a friend of hers that's another realtor, no names mentioned here, and she almost closed a deal. And that person called her, she didn't answer. Called her and told her that she got, and it was just like, it was already done in deal.
Wow.
And she got it. And she's like, why she didn't answer? I mean, it's just a phone call away for anything.
Unbelievable.
And it's funny.
That's the most expensive phone call ever.
Yeah. And I told him, like, it's funny because when I got here, I had a phone call as well in the morning for somebody that I haven't talked in a long time. But I answered and she was like, hey, I know I don't need podcasts, but I have somebody that do. Can you send me the prices? I wouldn't have answered. I wouldn't have got those deals as well. So I'm like, it's funny because sometimes we don't answer. I'm part of it too, because sometimes I don't answer. And I might lost a deal or something. I'm like, but now hearing this like 3 or 5 times today is like, no way, man.
The first thing is to tell, it was Expert 35, which is a bunch of entrepreneurs. First, communication and survival's a topic always. But that was the one thing is, you don't answer your phone. What are you doing, man? Like, I don't know, we actually gained business. I would maybe 5%, not much, but enough. Just by answering the phone, 5%, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Just by answering the phone, we seem to get a lot more business.
Referrals?
And I would always ask them, but always, why us? And they said, you answered your phone. I was like, that's it?
They
that's
don't.
The qualifications?
That's fact.
Dang, no one's meeting that standard? I mean,